Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if, Naruto Master of the Uzumaki Water Affinity, Part 1. Subscribe if you enjoy the video, let's start the story. Kakashi was growing a bit concerned. His admittedly loudest student was being rather quiet, as of late. They were just now returning from their mission in Nami no Kuni, Land of Waves. What was supposed to be their first C-rank mission escalated from a simple escort to protect from possible bandits turned into a protection detail from a Jounin level nuke missing ninja. Definitely B-rank material if not A-rank material. He should have turned them back around toward Konohagakure, Hidden Leaf, as soon as they ran into the Demon Brothers, but his team felt prepared to continue regardless, and thus they did. They made it through alive, albeit barely in some cases. There had been a few too many close calls, and now Naruto had been much quieter than his usual self. You couldn't tell if he was any different when you were talking to him, as he was acting as usual on that front. However, his passive demeanor was much more subdued, and he seemed to be deep in thought, which was likely considering the ordeal he had just been through. It concerned him because he hadn't changed in the past week and seemed to be getting worse, drawing more and more into himself. He didn't know what the young genin was thinking. If it didn't change soon, he would have to approach him to find out exactly what it was. Konohagakure no Sato 3 days later. As Kakashi correctly deduced, Naruto had been thinking lately, more than usual that is. He had come to realize a few things about himself, and he didn't like what he found. The mission to Nami opened his eyes to just how dangerous the ninja world could be, and he couldn't hold a candle to someone like Zabuza. He wouldn't even have beaten Haku if it weren't for the fox either. He had surprised her and managed to break through her mirrors. He had a feeling that if Haku had more time he wouldn't have won so easy. It was a cheap victory, he couldn't do it himself and was only able to because he thought Sasuke had died. He did it in a blind monstrous rage, drawing on the Kyuubi's 9 tails power. He didn't want that kind of victory, he wanted to be able to do it under his own power, and to do that he had to get stronger so he could ensure he could protect his friends and teammates. He came way too close this time. But how could he get stronger? As he was now, he was mediocre at best. His taijutsu, body techniques, was subpar and it needed work, a lot of work, and he was rather slow, as well. His genjutsu, illusionary techniques, was non-existent. He didn't have any talent in that field, nor did he think he ever would. His ninjutsu, ninja techniques, wasn't much either. His entire repertoire of techniques consisted of henge, transformation, kawarimi, substitution, and kage bunshin, shadow clone. Not much at all. Even if the kage bunshin by itself was nothing to scoff at, it was still only on technique. He needed to improve in every area he could, but he didn't know how. The other shinobi had to have learned it from somewhere. Now he just had to find out where. Right now, he was currently walking around the outer edges of the village on his off day, trying to think of a solution to his current problem, when he heard his Jounin sensei call out from behind him. "Naruto, I've been looking for you." He spun around to see Kakashi slowly strolling up to him. "Hey, Kakashi sensei. What are you looking for?" Naruto asked curiously. He usually only saw the man for team meetings and missions. "I've noticed you've been awfully quiet lately and was beginning to get worried." Kakashi inquired sincerely. "Need to make sure all my cute little genin is alright, after all." Oh. He had been thinking a lot lately, going over the recent events over and over in his head. Maybe it was more noticeable than he realized. He began to rub the back of his neck sheepishly, a bit of a tic of his. "I'm alright, Kakashi sensei. I've just been thinking a lot lately, is all. Anything I can help with?" "I am your Jounin sensei." That's right, he was his Jounin sensei. Maybe he could help, it was what he was supposed to do, after all. Maybe Kakashi would be able to help him get stronger or at least point him in the right direction at the least. "I need to get stronger," Naruto said determinedly after a moment. "I'm not very strong, and the mission to Nami no Kuni made me realize just how little I match up to everyone else. My taijutsu isn't very good at all, and I'm slow too. I don't think I'll ever be able to do genjutsu, and while I think my ninjutsu is good, I don't really know very much." He continued, looking up at his sensei. I don't know what to do. I want to get stronger so I can protect my precious people. We came close this time, and I can't let that happen again. It takes a good man to admit his faults," Kakashi said with an eye smile. He figured it would be something along these lines and came prepared for this discussion. He would help Naruto where he could. Not only because he was his student, but because he was his sensei's son as well. Knowing what you need to improve on is the first step to getting stronger, and you will be able to fix everything for the most part eventually. "Thanks, Kakashi sensei," Naruto said with a grin before it fell slightly. "But how do I improve? I just don't know where to start." Kakashi was beginning to realize that Naruto was smarter than he let on. He was asking all the right questions and seemed to be taking this seriously as well. Well, let's take this one issue at a time. Naruto gave him a nod, and he continued, first, for your taijutsu, it would be wise to improve your diet a bit. Ramen is good and all, but you need to eat other things too. It's not healthy to eat just ramen, and you need to be healthy to improve yourself significantly, okay? He was about to complain about the injustice to his favorite food, but stopped when he thought about it for a moment. He didn't like it, he loved ramen, but Kakashi had a point, and he didn't necessarily have to drop eating ramen altogether or much at all. He did know how to cook a little bit, it was a necessary skill when you lived alone, he just didn't do it much. He would just cut down on ramen a little bit to eat other stuff too. He would never stop eating ramen completely, but he needed to get stronger, and that would take some sacrifices. Sighing, he agreed, okay, Kakashi-sensei, I understand. That's very good, Naruto. He was honestly surprised that he didn't complain about the suggestion, but didn't show it. Now, you should also see about picking up a taijutsu style, something that suits you. What you have now, which is basically nothing, has too many openings. You'll be easier to take advantage of in a fight and could be killed that way. You can find some scrolls for that in the Shinobi archives. Archives? Naruto asked, cocking his head to the side. This was the first he was hearing about this. Kakashi blinked before growing slightly angry. Of course they wouldn't tell him about the place. I'll need to speak to Hokage-sama about this. The Shinobi Archives, Naruto, is the library restricted to active duty shinobi. You'll find books and scrolls on just about anything that could be useful to a shinobi, as well as records on past and present shinobi and clans in all the villages, though you won't find everything in that department, as some of it is also restricted. But most important to you at the moment is that there are scrolls on various Tai, Gen, and Ninjutsu as well. Naruto was a bit shocked, to be honest. This solved nearly all his problems. It was exactly what he was looking for. Despite popular belief, he had no problems reading, he just wasn't welcome in the public libraries and didn't feel like making a ruckus about it all. As a result, he didn't usually bother with it and chose to do something else. If he had learned about it sooner, he probably wouldn't have so many issues right now. That's amazing, Kakashi-sensei, I'll definitely be checking it out later. He exclaimed excitedly. Mama, it's alright. You should have been told about it when you graduated. He admitted tersely. He frowned, so it's another thing that was kept from me because of the Kyuubi. Kakashi just nodded and he sighed. At least I know now. Yes, at least there's that. Let me know whenever you think you're being kept from something you're entitled to. Don't worry about causing any problems, it'll be their fault. He cleared his throat, back onto topic. Just make sure you bring your hit I-8 forehead protector for identification. You'll only be allowed on the lower floor for now because of your rank, but that shouldn't be much of a problem at the moment. You'll get access to the rest if you rank up. Oh, almost forgot. The archives are located on top of the Hokage monument. Got that. He nodded. He had been up there plenty and had a pretty good idea which building it was now that he thought about it. Now, I don't think you'll be able to use Genjutsu. You simply have too much chakra and Genjutsu takes high levels of chakra control, more than you would be able to achieve. It's not worth the effort in any case. The best you can do is learn to identify and dispel it. I'll help you with that during our training sessions. It might take a while though. Okay, Kakashi-sensei. He didn't expect much else there, and Genjutsu wasn't his style anyway. Now, ninjutsu, you need to work on your chakra control, so pick up some books on that to help. Since you have so much chakra, it'll be harder to use some techniques and easier to use some others, but with better chakra control, it'll be even easier all around and you won't waste as much when you use techniques. It'll also further increase your reserves, though you have plenty already. He debated on the next subject, but the only reason that most people didn't learn it until later was that the training used a lot of chakra, and that wasn't a problem here. After that, you'll want to work on elemental manipulation. Upon saying that, Kakashi pulled out a few strips of paper. This is chakra paper. If you channel some chakra into it, you'll be able to tell what your chakra affinity or affinities are. For Kaiten, fire release, it'll burn. For Suiton, water release, it'll get wet. For Doton, earth release, it'll crumble into dust. For Raiten, lightning release, it'll crinkle up. And for Phaeton, wind release, it'll split in half. I'll show you. Kakashi held the chakra paper in between his fingers, and after a moment the paper crinkled up into a ball, and then started to turn to dust on the edges. So, you have a Raiten and a Doton affinity, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto deduced. He was interested in this, he knew about the elemental techniques, and loved to learn some. That's right, I developed the Doton affinity after a while, but I can use any affinity if I wanted to. Anyone can, they'll just have to use more chakra than someone that has an affinity for it. It's also harder to do so, although my Sharingan, Copy We Lie, makes molding different elemental chakra much easier. It'll be a bit easier for you because you have so much chakra, at least after you get used to molding the chakra. Now you try. Naruto took the piece of chakra paper and focused on channeling his chakra into it. Eventually the paper split in half before dissolving completely into water. Kakashi's visible eye widened slightly. "So, I have a futon and a suit in affinity, right?" he asked excitedly. "That's right, Naruto." Kakashi's eyes smile to think he would have two affinities right of the back too. It's quite rare too, not very many people have futon affinities around here. It's also the most difficult to learn how to control, so you might need to ask someone for some advice. The only one of the top of my head that I know of is Sarutobi Asuma, Team 10 Sensei, so ask him for help if you run into trouble with it. Water should be much easier, as it's somewhat common. You also have a very strong affinity for it. Like Kushina, he added mentally, having two affinities right off the back is rather rare too, so congratulations. This is also technically a Jounin level training exercise, but doing it now will make using ninjutsu easier and that much more powerful, and with your chakra, you shouldn't have any problems. Okay, Kakashi-sensei. I know I can do this. Thanks for the advice, is there anything else? He asked quickly. He was ready to begin, but wanted to know if he should do anything else first. He needed to get stronger. Maybe that training method could work for him. Kakashi mused, "Oh, well, there are a few things I think that should help you. It's something that only you should be able to do as well." "What is it?" Naruto asked curiously. "I want you to use your Kage Bunshin when you're training anything that's not directly related to building muscle." The Kage Bunshin no jutsu was originally supposed to be used for spying and infiltration because the memories of the clones return to the original, or in this case you, so for every clone you use you reduce the time needed to learn something by half. This should speed up the process for you, allowing you to do years of training in a matter of days. Nobody really uses this training method because the chakra requirement is tremendous and not many people can make very many clones and also have them be effective. Naruto was stunned, to say the least, and now that he thought about it, he could remember when the clones he made died even if wasn't close, or he couldn't see it when it happened. How did he miss this? He needed to pay more attention. The advantages of this were tremendous, he could do things so much faster this way. This is great, Kakashi-sensei, thanks for telling me this. The possibilities for this were running through his head and he already had some very useful ideas. Mama, it's fine, but one more thing, Naruto. For the good of everyone, he had to take the opportunity to eliminate a terrible blight from the earth. What? The look on his sensei's face was concerning him slightly. Lose that mon outfit as well. Kakashi said seriously while pointing at said outfit. He quickly continued when he noticed the look on his student's face. Now, I know you like orange, but it's also way too bright, maybe some orange accents, but that jumpsuit is way too much, plus it looks horrible. It needs to go. Find something more suitable to a shinobi. Naruto thought about what his sensei had said. He was going to protest, but after listening to what he said he had to admit that Kakashi had a point. He knew it didn't look very good either and that he should find something better, but he liked it, he liked orange, and it was comfortable. He would see about something new, but I'll try to find something else, but there's one problem. He trailed off and then mumbled the last bit. He was still a bit embarrassed about it. What was that, Naruto? He took a deep breath before responding. I said that I have trouble shopping in most stores. They kicked me out, probably because of my tenet. You know how most people are. He finished bitterly. He had accepted his situation, but that didn't mean he liked it. Kakashi had forgotten and was having trouble controlling his anger. Idiots, unfortunately not much could be done. He calmed down and gave what little he could. There was at least one shop he knew would discriminate. Well, I want you to try and find a store called the Broken Kunai. You shouldn't have any problems there. Don't be put off the name either. Their wares are good quality. It's where I do a lot of my shopping. Naruto smiled at him. Okay, Kakashi-sensei, I'll check it out. I've got to go. Kakashi-sensei, I'll see you later. Thanks for everything. He then took off into the trees, heading off to find the shinobi archives. Kakashi stood there, watching his student take off. He'll make you proud, sensei, he thought to himself before disappearing in a shunshin, body flicker. It didn't take very long for Naruto to find his destination. He was used to going to the top of the monument to look over the village, and the archives was one of the larger buildings up there. Once there he was signed in by the on-duty at the front and given a level 1 access clearance card, giving him access to anything on the first floor of the building. He was told higher clearance would be given if he rose to a higher rank or was given access by the Hokage. The process was surprisingly easy. If a bit professional, he would have liked to have immediate access to the high-level stuff, but understood enough to know that he needed to take everything one step at a time. Now, where to start? Kakashi-sensei said I should improve my taijutsu and chakra control first. Naruto then began his search over the next 4 hours, using clones to spread out and search faster. The scroll on chakra control exercises was easy enough, but finding something for taijutsu is what took a while. Nothing connected enough with him, just looking through the scrolls he could tell they weren't right, but he kept on looking, and just when he was about to give up for the day, he found something. The hummingbird style of Taijutsu utilized speed and strong precise strikes and counterattacks, even to the point of later using ninjutsu like the Shunshin no jutsu in conjunction with the style to further increase speed. He felt a strong connection to it immediately and made his decision immediately. He then checked out the 2 scrolls before leaving for the day. He would read through them tonight before beginning his new training regimen the next day. Training field 1 week later. Naruto had been spending all his free time in between missions and team meetings, training for his taijutsu and improving his chakra control, as well as improving his diet in the meantime, as Kakashi-sensei had recommended. The progress on his taijutsu would be slow, as he needed to physically condition his body for it, as well as increase his speed. He wanted to get a set of chakra weight soon as well to help. He couldn't do too much, as of yet beyond following the basic exercises and training regimen until the conditioning began to show results. His chakra control had improved vastly over the week with him using his clones liberally, speeding up the process. The scroll he had found in the archives had several tips for people with large chakra reserves like himself. He definitely had a lot of chakra, and that wasn't even considering the Kyuubi either. Now he could literally feel the difference in his chakra, and he hadn't even started with the more extreme exercises yet. To help further, he was also meditating, as well to help him better sense his chakra and examine it as well. His chakra, in a word, was dense, and with the pure amount he had, it made that even more incredible. The improved control and better feel he had for his chakra would make using ninjutsu much easier as well. Beyond that, he could feel something about his chakra, like there was something more to it, but he could tell what it was just yet. For now, he felt his chakra control was good enough that he could begin to work on elemental manipulation, as he had completed the basic chakra control exercises. He had found some scrolls on Futon and Suiton training exercises a few days previously and was ready to try them out. So, deciding there was no time like the present, he made 200 clones and had them split up and get to work on the exercises. On Hagakure no Sado the next day, Naruto was letting his clones continue the elemental training that he started the previous day while he went out to do some shopping. Kakashi-sensei had practically ordered him to get a new outfit and, as much as he liked the current one, he was forced to acknowledge that it wasn't doing him any favors beyond his own personal color preference. He would need something more suited for a shinobi. The last thing he wanted was to get him or his teammates killed because personal preferences stood out too much. That was the real sticking point for him and made the decision to make the change much easier. It didn't take too long to find the shop Kakashi mentioned. It was a small unassuming shop with a simple sign depicting a kunai with a crack running through it. It didn't look like much, but Kakashi said that their goods were good quality and they wouldn't treat him unfairly. Besides, if they were good enough, they didn't need to flaunt themselves to get customers. Shrugging, he stepped inside, the door swinging shut behind him. Looking around, his jaw nearly dropped. The place was filled with all kinds of weapons, everything from katanas, maces, broadswords, spears, and anything else weaponry lined the walls. Which wouldn't be unusual in this type of store, but the sheer amount was staggering. "Hello, can I help you?" A distinctively female voice asked from his left. He turned around to see a girl about his age wearing a pink sleeveless kipao-style blouse and dark green pants. She had brown eyes and brown hair and 2 Chinese-style buns on her head with 2 short bangs framing her face with a Konoha hit I-8 on her forehead, which he took notice of. "Oh, hi. You're a ninja?" he asked, gesturing to her hit I-8. "Yep, for a little over a year now," she stated proudly. "I'm Higurashi Tenten, my dad owns the store and I help out in between missions and training. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I just graduated a few months ago, though. I'm looking to get a new outfit. My Jounin sensei suggested I should change and told me to come here. I can see why. What made you decide that thing was a good idea?" she commented dryly with a raised eyebrow. He took on an affronted look. "Hey. I happen to like oranges and it's comfortable. However, I know it's too bright for a shinobi. I also had trouble finding anything better than this either before now," he defended lamely. "Well, at least you're changing it now." She then gestured to a section of the store. "We have our shinobi wear over there, let me know if you need help." "Okay. Thanks, Tenten." He then went over and began to look for something suitable for him to wear. He wanted something lightweight and maneuverable, but something durable as well. After looking around for a while, with Tenten helping find something here and there, he eventually went with a tight black sleeveless shirt with a burnt orange swirl on the back over a long sleeve mesh armor shirt with black shinobi pants and sandals. He also had Tenten change the cloth on his hit I-8 to black to match the rest of the attire, and he found some of the fingerless gloves with a metal plate on the back of the hand with burnt orange trim along the bottom. He had gone with black because of the contrast it had with a little bit of orange he still had, and plus the primary issue before was that his outfit was too bright, so he wore the darkest color there was to fix that. "Wow, you look so much better now that you're out of that monstrosity," Tenten said once he came out of the changing room. He scowled when she called his jumpsuit a monstrosity. "Why did everyone hate it? Will you be getting anything else?" she asked after a moment. "I'll take 2 more sets of what I'm wearing minus the gloves and sandals, a set of shuriken and kunai, a spool of ninja wire, and a set of chakra weights." Naruto tackled the last one after he remembered that he wanted to get them at the last second. "Alright then, give me a minute." She quickly gathered everything along with a few extras and set them on the counter. "Everything will come out to 6,800 ryo. We're having a little promotion at the moment. Any purchase 5,000 or more and you get some basic genjutsu, sealing techniques, materials." Well, that was interesting, he might look into learning a bit about it. He didn't know much beyond that it was how storage scrolls were made, but he also knew it was how the Yondaime sealed the Kyuubi inside him. Something like that should be worth learning at least a little of, and he had intended to have at least a cursory glance into the subject anyway. Little did Naruto know just how much that decision would affect him. "That's great, thanks for the help." He quickly forked over the required funds, and Tenten sealed everything in a storage scroll for him. "Maybe, I'll see you around, Tenten." He tossed a wave over his shoulder as he left. On Hagakure no Sato 5 days later, for the most part, his elemental training was going well at least when it came to the Suiton manipulation. The Photon manipulation wasn't going as near as well. He was able to create a small cut in the leaf, but he was having trouble doing more than that. Even with 100 clones all working on it, the process was painstakingly slow. The instructions were to make his chakra sharp and thin. He knew he was doing that correctly, he could feel it in his chakra. His ability to visualize his chakra had only increased in the meantime as he continued the chakra control exercises. On the other hand, the Suiton manipulation was coming along great, surprisingly so. The exercise itself was to manipulate the surface of a river or lake to rise with your hand until he could do it seamlessly and barely think about it. The best way to describe Suiton chakra was, in a word, flowing. But at the same time, it could also be wild and violent, a force of nature, a maelstrom. His control over it was also surprising as well. The first day there was little to no progress, but on the second day it was like something just clicked and it became much easier. Now he was able to manipulate the water freely and he didn't need to concentrate as much as he did, it still needed some work. It annoyed him though that while the Suiton training was going so well, the Photon training wasn't getting much of anywhere. That's why he now found himself looking for Team 10 so he could find out if Asuma sensei could help him out in any way. It didn't take him too long as he found them and at, not ironically, training ground 10. Shikamaru was sitting with Asuma with a board between them, Asuma looking quite frustrated, Choji and Ino were sitting on the grass, the former munching on the ever-present bag of chips, while the latter looked rather bored. "Asuma-sensei," he called out as he ran up to the group. "What's up, guys?" he said with a small wave to the others. "Hey, Naruto." "Not much, Shikamaru was just playing shogi with Asuma-sensei." "What's up with the new clothes?" Choji asked between munching on his chips. "Yeah, I was wondering too, I hardly recognized you," Ino spoke up from his side. She had never paid much attention to him in the academy and only spoke to him a few times before, but she was having an admittedly difficult time not doing so now. "He actually looks good now." "Oh well, it was time for a change, I guess. The orange was too bright and wasn't doing me any favors anyway." He had come to terms with how bad his old jumpsuit really was after he noticed a change in the looks he was getting around the village. Plus, it helped that a lot of people didn't even notice him or recognize it was him. "No, it was not." Ino agreed, "This is definitely an improvement over whatever that thing from before was. That jumpsuit was a crime to fashion and should have never even existed, it wasn't even the orange, at least not entirely." Shikamaru, lazy as ever, finally chose to speak up. "It's about time you got rid of that thing, we've been saying it looked horrible for years. What are you doing here anyway? I doubt it was to come and show off your new clothes," he drew. Naruto grinned at the lazy Nara. "Hey Shika. I know, I just didn't have very many options for clothes before. As for why I'm here, I needed to ask Asuma-sensei something." Asuma, who had been listening to their conversation, glad to have a break from losing to Shikamaru at shogi, raised an eyebrow at this. "What would you have to ask me?" "Kakashi's your Jounin sensei, I'm sure he could help you with whatever it is." Naruto shook his head. "Nope, not with this, unfortunately. Actually, you're probably the only one who can help me. I have a Photon affinity and I'm working on my elemental manipulation a bit." Kakashi-sensei said you were the only one in Konoha he could think of that had one. "I have a Suiton affinity too, but one's coming along fine, great actually. I can't seem to get anywhere with my Photon training though." Asuma whistled. "Elemental manipulation, eh? Not many people start at this early, you do know this is supposed to take years to master, right? Yeah, that's what the scroll said, but I've been using my Cage Bunshin to help. I want to get stronger, and faster too, so I'm going to do everything I can to get there. Naruto proclaimed with a determined look on his face. Ino was confused by his statement. How is that supposed to help, and I thought you couldn't Bunshin no, clone technique. I can't, I simply have too much chakra to make a normal Bunshin, but I can make Cage Bunshin. Unlike normal Bunshin, Cage Bunshin are solid and have their own chakra circulatory systems, and I can make hundreds, maybe thousands, if I wanted, although they only take one good hit to dispel. Naruto explained and found it hard not to laugh at their gobsmacked expressions. As for how it's supposed to help, the memories of the Cage Bunshin are returned to the original when they're dispelled. I can effectively cut the learning time for anything by half for each clone I make. I can learn something that would normally take months in a week or something that would usually take years in a month. The 3 genin of Team 10 looked to their sensei, who nodded. He's right, and from what I've heard about him is true, and he can make that many clones, he could learn anything in a minuscule amount of time compared to the usual. Alright, so now that's cleared up. You think you can give me some tips or something, Asuma-sensei? He asked. Asuma nodded before standing up, pulling out one of his trench knives and holding it up to the blonde. What I do when molding Photon chakra is imagine my chakra grinding against each other in opposite directions while making it as sharp and thin as possible. As he said this, Asuma channeled wind chakra into the blade which began to glow a bluish green. These knives are made of a special chakra conductive metal that makes it easier to channel and retain chakra through them, and Photon chakra is just about the sharpest thing there is. He then went on to prove that statement by throwing the knife through a nearby tree and then into a boulder behind it. That was awesome, Asuma-sensei. I have to be able to do that. I think I've got the general idea now. It shouldn't take too much longer to get it now. If you'll excuse me guys, I need to try this out. Thanks for the help, I'll see you around. Naruto then gave a short salute before proceeding to burst into smoke, showing that he was actually Cage Bunshin the whole time. The 3 teams were surprised by the action. Why did he? That was a clone, wasn't it? Ino asked. Yes, it seems it was, Asuma confirmed. Troublesome Shikamaru muttered before turning back to Asuma. It's checkmate by the way. What? He looked down at the board, maybe I can. Nope. But ugh, you're only 13, you'd think I'd won at least once by now. He grumbled under his breath. Hokage's office 2 months later. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage, 3rd Fire Shadow, looked around his rather large office which was rather full at the moment. At the moment a good many Jounin and several Chunin were present, only waiting for one more arrival. As usual, unfortunately, the person in question was nearly 2 hours late. Eventually, the door opened to reveal the form of Kakashi. Sorry I'm late, Hokage-sama, a black cat crossed my path and I had to take the long way around. Nearly everyone in the room sweat dropped at the terrible excuse. Well ahem, now that you're here we can begin. He didn't even bother reprimanding the man, as it never did any good anyway. The Chunin exams, as many of you know, will be taking place in Konoha a week from now. What followed was a general debriefing on who would be participating, increased security protocols, any unusual factors, etc. Now I will ask if any of the current Jounin sensei wish to nominate their genin for the exam. Several Jounin nominated their teams until a strange man wearing a green spandex jumpsuit with a bowl cut and extremely large eyebrows stepped forward. Mido Guy nominated the most youthful team of Rock Lee, Higurashi Tenten, and Hyuga Niji for the Chunin exams. Many of the people in the room sweat dropped at his enthusiasm. Then a rather beautiful woman, with black hair and startling scarlet eyes stepped forward. Yuhi Kurenai nominated Team 8, consisting of Aburam Shino, Hyuga Hinata, and Inyazuka Kiba for the Chunin exams. She said professionally. Next Asuma stepped up, the Sarutobi Asuma led Team 10 of Akimichi Choji, Ino Yamanaka, and Nara Shikamaru was nominated for the Chunin exams. Surprisingly Kakashi then stepped forward, Team 7 under Hada Kakashi, Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, and Uzumaki Naruto was also nominated for the Chunin exams. Now wait just 1 minute. Yumino Iruka spoke up from the side. These kids are rookies right out of the academy, they aren't ready for this. If they weren't ready, we wouldn't have nominated them. They've improved. Kakashi defended. They've barely been in the field for 6 months, how can they be ready, these exams are dangerous. It doesn't matter. Kakashi declared, giving Iruka a pointed look. Don't think I don't know why you're so opposed to this. I know of your attachment to Naruto, but they're not your students anymore, they're my soldiers. They're too young. Enough. Hiruzen broke in, causing Iruka to back off. Iruka-kun, Kakashi is correct, trust in their sensei's judgment. They wouldn't have put them forward if they didn't have faith in their abilities. Now if that is all, he took a moment to see if anyone would speak up. Dismissed. Naruto was currently waiting with his teammates for Kakashi-sensei on the usual bridge they all met up at, and, as usual, Kakashi was late. The past 2 months had been quite productive in his own opinion, his training had borne fruit and he was stronger than he was before, he could feel the difference in his body and in his chakra. In the process, he had also begun to change as a person, while also being more intelligent than he was before. He had been sending a few clones to the archives nearly every day since he found out about the place to read up on whatever they could get their hands on, anything helpful or merely interesting was read and absorbed. Now, he wasn't a complete idiot before, despite his disposition to act like one, but that was more for attention than anything else. Regardless of that, he was never secretly a genius, he was more average than anything, he just never tried and fell into the ruse of playing the idiot. He wasn't a genius now either. Yes, he was more intelligent and knowledgeable than before, that's what happens when someone absorbs copious amounts of information over a short period of time. Most of it being general knowledge, chakra theory, and advice on tactics, and various other things. He had improved, but he still had a long way to go and would strive to continue improving. Naruto had also tried to improve relations with his team, the key word here is tried. Things really hadn't changed from before, Sasuke continued to brood and ignore everyone else when they weren't on missions. He had thought things might have changed after the bonding they had gone through in Nami, but things took a backstep when he awakened his Sharingan. As with Sakura, she would also ignore him in favor of fawning over Sasuke, as usual, which was ignored by the Uchiha, and she would end up yelling at him or hitting him for no clear reason anytime he tried to talk to her. He had thought maybe the change in attire might change things, or at least they might take him more seriously, as he noticed from several others. However, Sasuke had just narrowed his for a moment before turning away without so much as a word. Sakura just accused him of attempting to look cooler than Sasuke to garner her attention, which was ridiculous. Both of them were beginning to grate on his nerves, you would think that being on a team and spending time with each other every day would help them get along. But things hadn't gotten anywhere and might have even regressed instead, it didn't make any sense. On one hand, he was disappointed about it all, disappointed in both of them, and that he hadn't made progress with them. On the other hand, he was pissed at them for not putting any effort into improving, as a team, while he was trying so hard to do so, and improve himself at the same time, so he could protect both of them if needed. He was trying hard, even going through the effort of curbing his more annoying tendencies, which was more difficult than he anticipated. Although, it should have been expected when one was his not-so-secret crush, and the other was someone he had always considered his rival. Kakashi though had seemed to turn over another leaf, as a sensei, he was much more helpful, and Naruto felt he had grown closer to the silver-haired shinobi. Like he had promised, he had helped him learn how to recognize when he was trapped in a, and taught him how to break himself out of one, as well. The man had also helped him improve his form with his taijutsu style, which Kakashi was familiar with somehow, and gladly helped him through spars and several tips. Naruto broke from his thoughts and stretched before leaning back against the railing of the bridge. Unfortunately, Kakashi was still his lazy and perpetually tardy self. He was honestly getting tired of always waiting for Kakashi to show up and was debating starting to pull a Kakashi himself and show up late. He was always exactly 2 hours late, so, as long as he was there before him, he would be fine. Then again, it could be risky, what if Kakashi actually showed up on time or early? He snorted at the thought, earning him odd looks from his two teammates, who were standing across from him in a similar position to himself. The mere thought of Kakashi being early was utterly ridiculous, he couldn't even fathom the idea. Eventually growing bored, he dropped down into a Seiza position so he could meditate. He had been meditating more and more often over the past 2 months. Where originally, he only did it to get a better feel of his chakra, he now did it because of how relaxing it actually was. In the process he had gotten better at examining his chakra, as well, which was both very intriguing and frustrating. He could tell that something was there, he just couldn't for the life of him figure out exactly what that was. It was driving him freaking insane, he felt that he was missing something, and it wasn't the Kyuubi's chakra either, he had found that and accidentally drew on it once before slamming it back. He did not like it at all, it wasn't that it felt evil, it was the pure primal feeling it produced, and that scared him a bit. Taking a long deep breath, he put a hand in a half-ram seal and focused his chakra outward. His examinations had uncovered one thing at least, it seemed that he had some kind of sensor ability, or at least he thought he did. It wasn't anywhere near complete or reliable yet, in essence, he could do 3 things with it at the moment. First, it enhanced his senses and awareness of the area around him, while his senses had always been good, this just enhanced them. Second, he was able to feel any chakra around him, as well as identify its signature. Finally, he could gain a better understanding of the environment and area around him and a much broader spectrum. Unfortunately, it was very rough and underdeveloped too, and took an insane amount of concentration to get much of anything, and he wasn't known for his patience. He only got the bare basics of those aspects. It took time for him to gain a good feeling for any of it, and once he was able to, it was blurry or dull. Not to mention it was all very new and confusing. He didn't know what to make of it just yet, so he had been practicing with it so he could get used to the new senses. He was only beginning to get anywhere, and that was with his ability to detect and recognize chakra signatures, though the progress was only minimal. He was getting somewhere. After a while, he managed to pick up on a familiar signature sitting in the trees nearby. Well, there he is. Grinning, he turned and called out, startling his teammates, who had been wondering what he was doing. "Kakashi-sensei, come and join us." The silver-haired Jounin immediately appeared between the three genin in a gust of wind. "Yo, Naruto, mind telling me how you knew I was there?" Kakashi asked, genuinely curious. He had made sure to mask his presence while he observed his team. He was hoping they might start to get along better soon, as they seemed to have grown distant from each other, especially Naruto, but not for a lack of trying. Deciding to be honest with the Jounin, he answered, "I think I picked up some kind of sensory ability recently while messing around with my chakra, and I was practicing using it when I managed to recognize your chakra signature." Kakashi blinked in surprise before giving him an eye smile. "That's a very unique ability, Naruto. It should prove especially useful to you and any team you're a part of. You've improved a lot recently." Sasuke and Sakura seemed even more surprised than Kakashi was at the revelation. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly. "Thank you, Kakashi-sensei, I'm aware of its uses and how important it could be." "Good. Not is?" Sakura asked, "How do you even just pick up something like that, anyway?" "Yes, it could. I only just found out about it, Sakura-chan. It's not very developed, things are blurry and confusing and hard to make out at times. As for how I picked it up, I don't know how exactly. I was just meditating one day, looking into my chakra, and I found my senses had increased beyond the usual." "Do you meditate?" she asked incredulously. Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Yes, what else would I have been doing for the past half hour?" She just shrugged in response, and Naruto turned back to Kakashi. "Well, anyway, it's not field ready yet. It requires intense concentration at the moment, and I'm just not used to it yet, in the first place." "Don't worry about it," Kakashi waved him off. "We don't need it right now, despite how useful it is, not that we won't take advantage of it once you can do it effortlessly. You'll get better with time and practice. Natural sensors are rare, but the skill still takes time to master and use effectively." "I know, so expect me to put the maximum amount of effort into improving at this. It's too useful not to. I'll let you know when it's usable." "That's good now for what I have for you today." He then pulled out several sheets of paper, gaining inquisitive looks from the genin. "I've nominated you three for the upcoming Chunin exams, which will begin this Friday. Though you have the option of deciding to compete or not." This revelation shocked the three genin, leaving them speechless for a moment. Eventually, Naruto broke out of his stupor, a large grin spreading across his face. "This is great, Kakashi-sensei. Time to show them what we're made of." "I'm in." "Are you sure we're ready for this, Kakashi-sensei?" Sakura asked. "You've all improved, and though you all could get along more, you still work together when it's needed. I have faith that you three can do it. That's why I nominated you in the first place," he said with his trademark eye smile. Sasuke also felt that he was ready. He needed to get stronger so that he could kill him, and becoming a Chunin would only help him do so. For him there was no hesitation, he would compete. "I'm in, too." Sakura wasn't as sure as her two teammates. There was no question in her mind that Sasuke was stronger than her, and she had to acknowledge that Naruto was stronger than her too, not even counting his recent changes, which confused her. She originally thought he was only trying to impress her by changing his attire, but now she wasn't so sure. He was a bit quieter than before and would often leave immediately after missions and team training to who knows where. However, she wanted to impress Sasuke-kun and felt she had improved enough. Plus Kakashi-sensei had said she was ready for it. "I think I can do this too. I'm in, as well." They all signed their forms and gave them to Kakashi. "I'm sure you'll all do great. I'll turn these into Hokage-sama. Use this next week to prepare for the exams and be present in room 301 in the academy at 9 AM on Friday." With that, they all went their separate ways in order to begin preparations for the exams. Streets of Konohagakure no Sato 3 days later. Naruto wasn't having a good morning. First, his hot water had gone out and he was forced to take a cold shower, not completely new to him, seeing it wasn't the first time it had happened, far from it. Then he had somehow lost one of his sandals and it had taken him nearly an hour to find the thing. He had thought that maybe things would be fine from there, but then he had run into his female teammate and found himself in the current situation. Konohamaru, who he had also run into shortly before Sakura showed up and had managed to piss Sakura off by insinuating that she was his girlfriend, which Naruto wouldn't usually mind all that much if it weren't for the fact that she was now trying to murder the both of them. He was following behind Konohamaru with Sakura chasing a short distance behind, yelling obscenities at them. Eventually, Konohamaru rounded a corner after exiting an alleyway only to bump into someone else. "Ow, you brat, that hurt." An angry voice exclaimed as Naruto rounded the corner and he stopped, as did Sakura when she realized what was going on. "Hey, let me go." A boy, who was maybe a year or two older than they were, was holding a struggling Konohamaru up in the air by his shirt. He was wearing a full-body black jumpsuit with a cat-like head covering. He also had purple markings that looked to be paint covering his face and had a hit I-8 on his forehead with an Herglis on the plate, the symbol of Sunagaker. Hidden sand. There was also a strange, large bandage-wrapped object on his back. Standing behind him was a girl, maybe a year older than him. She had teal eyes and had her sandy blonde hair gathered into 4 short, pigtails. She wore a single light purple, off-the-shoulders garment with a scarlet sash tied around her waist, as well as mesh armor worn over her shoulders and legs, as well as on her right calf and her left thigh. She had a Sunagaker hit I-8 around her neck and what Naruto recognized as a large battle fan on her back. "Why would I do that? You bumped into me, I should hurt you for that," the strange boy threatened. Seeing enough, Naruto intervened. "Oi, makeup boy. I would put him down if you." The girl giggled at the makeup boy comment. The boy immediately turned toward Naruto. "Who the hell are you?" "And it's not makeup, dammit, it's warpant." Naruto raised an eyebrow. One of the many things he had taken into practice with his studies was the art of enraging an opponent to make them easier to take advantage of, as well as keeping calm himself, though he was still getting the hang of that. After all, you don't necessarily think clearly when angry, and he had seen where that got him. "Really, well, you can call it whatever you like, but it's still makeup, you probably just stole it from your sister anyway. Anyway, you should really put him down." The boy looked ready to kill, but managed to contain himself, though his face was nearly entirely red in anger and embarrassment. "Why would I listen to you? Well, I don't know about you, but foreign shinobi coming into our village for some reason and roughing up the Hokage's grandson. How do you think that looks?" His face went immediately from red to as white as a sheet. The implication of that statement setting in, he immediately dropped Konohamaru, who ran behind Naruto to hide behind his legs. "You idiot." The girl snapped at him, "You could have gotten us into big trouble. How was I supposed to know he was the Hokage's grandson?" He defended. "Wait." Sakura cut, drawing their attention. "What are Suna shinobi doing here anyway?" Naruto rolled his eyes at the question. Even he realized why they were here, the Chunin exams, Sakura-chan. "Oh," she replied meekly. Though internally she was pissed that Naruto made her look stupid. "Who are you again?" the blonde girl asked. "I never said that, but I'm Uzumaki Naruto. The pink-haired girl is my teammate Haruno Sakura, and the one hiding in the tree over there is my other teammate Uchiha Sasuke." Naruto gestured to said tree to see Sasuke watching them and looked quite put out at being discovered, and by Naruto no less. "Sasuke-kun." Sakura exclaimed when Sasuke jumped down to join them. "Hey-chan." He grunted and looked toward the blonde girl. "And who are you?" "I'm Tamari, and the idiot here is my brother Kankuro," she said bluntly. "Oh, so you did just your sister's makeup. I was just saying that, but I didn't know she was actually your sister." Naruto provoked the newly named Kankuro. Naruto had grown to enjoy messing with people, as it was very entertaining and served as good practice. "Damn it. I told you it's not makeup, it's warpant." Kankuro yelled loudly. "You're a disgrace, Kankuro." They all turned to see a boy their age hanging upside down from a tree branch with short, spiky red hair. He had black rings around his teal eyes reminding Naruto of a raccoon, and the kanji for love on the left side of his forehead. He was wearing a black bodysuit with short sleeves. Mesh armor could be seen coming out further from them. He also wore a white cloth over his right and had a wide leather band from his left shoulder which carried a large gourd. His hit I-8 was wrapped around the band. Naruto hadn't seen him, he'd only found Sasuke because he hadn't begun to be more observant at all times, another thing he had learned in his studies. If you weren't paying attention to your surroundings, you could be easily ambushed and killed. This guy must have been hiding well. Kankuro stuttered, he looked afraid of this Gaara. Tamari looked afraid of him as well. Gaara then disappeared in a swirl of sand. Only to reappear in front of them. Shunshin. Naruto thought, only to cut his ponderings off as he felt the chakra coming off of him. This chakra it was dark and unnerved him and he couldn't help but take an involuntary step back. The chakra was also familiar to him, but he couldn't pinpoint exactly why just yet. "Who are you?" Sasuke asked from his side. He stared at him for several long seconds. "Sabaku no Gaara. Gaara of the desert," he said in his flat monotone. Gaara proceeded to turn away from Sasuke, who looked irritated at being ignored, and faced Naruto. He stared at him for a minute before finally speaking. "You intrigue me," he said slowly. "You will prove my existence." He continued with a hint of bloodlust that unnerved Naruto. Ara then turned around and without another word, walked off, prompting him to turn to the wide-eyed Temari and Kankuro. "Okay, what the fuck was that? I'm guessing it's not good," he said bluntly, causing his teammates to sweat drop at the crass response. "Nope, you're probably gonna die," Kankuro said with an air of assuredness. Naruto didn't appreciate that he seemed to think he would die so easily. "We'll see." Naruto responded dismissively in a terse fashion. In the past Naruto might have thrown a huge fit in response to such a statement and honestly still wanted to, but he had been working on controlling his emotions and had learned when and when not to have an outburst, though it was hard sometimes. "We'll be seeing you in the Chunin exams, good luck, you'll need it, make up boy," Naruto said as he turned to leave. This encounter had pissed him off and he needed to go blow off some steam. He was headed off to train earlier anyway. 3 days later, Friday Academy. Naruto was currently heading to meet with his teammates so they could enter the Chunin exams. He didn't know too much about the exams as they were only described in general terms when he read about them. He knew that it was traditionally separated into 3 different exams, each testing the shinobi participants in the different areas of the shinobi arts. However, each village did things differently. He was also aware that the exams were very dangerous as well. Regardless, Naruto thought he was ready. His training had begun to show his progress. At the very least, this would allow him to just how much he had grown. He had been practically training himself into the ground in an effort to improve himself, to become strong enough to protect those precious to him. He had changed as a person in the process, he knew that much, and he hoped he had grown significantly stronger in the process. He spotted his teammates waiting in front of the building as he arrived. He grinned. "It's time." "Yo, Sasuke, Sakura-chan. Are you guys ready for this?" "Of course, I am, but are you?" Sasuke responded. "You know I am. How about you, Sakura-chan?" Naruto asked the pink-haired Kunoichi. "I think so." She answered uncertainty. Sakura wasn't as confident as her teammates, but was determined to continue and prove herself. "Well, let's go then," Naruto prompted before they all entered the building. They made their way up the stairs, and upon arriving they found many other genin grouped up around the room. On one side of the room, there were a pair of doors with the number 301 on the sign next to them. In front of the doors were an older genin beating on another boy who was wearing a green spandex jumpsuit with a pair of orange leg warmers and was wearing his hit I-8 as a belt. He had his hair in a bowl cut and large eyes with freakishly large eyebrows. Something's wrong here. He thought he just wasn't exactly sure of what yet, but those 2 older genin seemed familiar to him. "You're going to take the Chunin exams?" one of the boys asked dismissively. "You'll just get killed. We suggest you just leave, you won't stand a chance, even though we've had to take the exams 3 times. The second continued. "Just let us through, you jerks." A familiar voice yelled, and he looked over to see Tenten. "We're here to take the exams, so just move. You'll just fail, we're just helping weed out those who never had a chance. Chunin are team leaders, I doubt any of you have what it takes." The first said before knocking Tenten out of the way as well. "There's something up with those 2, and didn't we only go up 1 flight of stairs?" Naruto thought it was seriously bugging him. "Wait. Those 2, don't they look like?" He perked up. "Sasuke, can you check for Jinjutsu?" Sasuke just raised his eyebrows before shrugging and activating his Sharingan. "Yeah. There's a Jinjutsu." Thought so. Naruto clicked his tongue before stepping forward. "Hey. Izumo, Katetsu. Just let us all pass already and get rid of the damn Jinjutsu." The hanged Izumo looked surprised at being found out but shook it off. "Oh, how'd you figure it out? We only went up 1 flight of stairs for starters, plus you guys would have used better hinges than just making you look younger, and you sounded about the same too," Naruto yelled back at them, though if he was honest, he didn't think he would have caught all of that a few months ago. "Any idiot with a brain could have seen through it," Sasuke added, though he was a little surprised that Naruto caught it before Sakura. He just chalked it up to his recent changes. He was honestly glad the blonde was quieter than before. It was all a bit strange, and he couldn't make heads or tails of him. He grinned before dispelling the Jinjutsu. Well, you might have seen through it, but it'll take more than that here." He made to kick Sasuke, and he threw one in response, but before either of them could do anything, both were caught by the genin in the green jumpsuit, who seemed to have made a full recovery from before. "Idiot, a boy, obviously a Hyuga telling by his wide eyes, spoke from behind him. "Wasn't it your idea that we hide our true abilities?" I just said before blushing and looking over towards Sakura. He then walked over to her. "Oh, great." Tenten sighed. "Hello. You're Haruno Sakura, aren't you?" "My name is Rock Lee, please go out with me, I'll protect you with my life." Lee said, a shining grin and a thumbs up. "Just no. You're weird." Sakura said, seemingly disgusted and a little weirded out. Lee immediately slumped, and Naruto couldn't help but feel sorry for the guy just a little bit, even with his own lingering crush on Sakura. Though he felt that was starting to wear out on him. Hey Tenten. Naruto turned to the bun-haired girl. He had seen her a couple more times since he had first met her at her father's store. So, you're in these exams too. I'm guessing these two are your teammates. He gestured to Lee and the Hyuga from before, who was talking to Sasuke. She sighed again, yeah, the one in green is Rock Lee, and the other one is Hyuga Niji. I'm honestly surprised to see you here since you're a rookie. Hey. I'd like to think I'm good enough for this at least, rookie or not, so don't underestimate me. Naruto said with a grin. Or do, it's your choice. Don't count on it. She laughed, just don't think you can beat me. His grin just grew wider in response, before he turned to leave. I guess we'll see, good luck, Tenten. He walked over to his team. About time, Naruto. Let's go. Sasuke said once he reached them. Yeah, Naruto said dismissively, and they made their way onto the third floor. They were about to reach the stairs when they were intercepted by Rock Lee. Hey, you, the broody one, he said pointing at Sasuke, who scowled at the description. You're the one named Uchiha Sasuke, yes. This year's Rookie of the Year, I wish to challenge you to a fight right here and now. You know who I am, and you still want to challenge me, Sasuke said arrogantly, you're an idiot. I wish to test my techniques against the last of your legendary clan, do you accept? Sasuke-kun, you shouldn't, we don't have much time before the exams start, Sakura said nervously. This will only take 5 minutes. For once I'm in agreement here, we shouldn't give too much about ourselves away, and we have no idea how strong he is, Naruto interjected. He was a bit miffed that everyone always ignored him in favor of Sasuke. In the past, he might have insisted on fighting him first. Now, he knew the importance of discretion and keeping your skills hidden when possible. Where before he was loud and would show off at any point. He had discovered how dangerous that attitude was, and not just for him, but his comrades as well. I don't need your opinion here, dope. I won't have to show much anyway. Sasuke retorted. That arrogant he had to hold back from yelling at him for being stupid. He's my teammate and our relations are strained, as is he sighed. Fine, don't say I didn't warn you, he walked off toward the stairs. I'll meet you at the door, don't take too long. He just needed to get away for a minute before he punched the asshole. Kakashi was currently waiting outside room 301 of the academy building for his genin team to arrive. His team was honestly not the best, but their teamwork was good when it truly mattered, but could still be better. They all had their issues, but it improved somewhat, but Naruto had seemed to change most of all. Ever since he had found him 3 months ago, after their mission to Nami no Kuni, he has been growing rapidly. Both in terms of strength and mind. His self-control had grown by leaps and bounds, and his general knowledge of shinobi aspects had progressed significantly, and Naruto had been adapting himself to following those aspects. Kakashi was surprised and honestly very proud of him for changing. He didn't show much sign of slowing down either. Hey, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi looked up to see the very person he was thinking about. What are you doing here? Yo, Naruto. I was waiting for you and the others. Speaking of, where are Sasuke and Sakura? He asked, noticing that they weren't with the blonde. Naruto grew an irritated look before it quickly disappeared. They'll be alone in a few minutes. Sasuke was challenged to a fight by this Rock Lee guy. He wears a green spandex jumpsuit and has a bowl cut along with some very big eyebrows. He's weird. Naruto finished. Sounds like Guy's student. Kakashi had heard Guy had turned him into a mini version of himself. Kakashi had to hold back an involuntary shudder at the idea of 2 guys running around, one was already too much. Anyway, I tried to dissuade them from fighting, but he wouldn't listen to damn Uchiha arrogance. Naruto muttered under his breath, I decided to go ahead and wait for them here before I did something stupid. I see just then Sasuke and Sakura arrive, the former looking rather roughed up and the latter looking worried. Naruto raised an eyebrow at Sasuke's scuffed up appearance, just don't. Sasuke said tersely. Naruto was honestly tempted to give him the old I told you so. But decided not to push his luck and just shrugged. What are you doing here, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked, drawing the masked Jounin's attention. Well, I was waiting to make sure all 3 of you showed up. The Chunin exams are a team exam, and if one of you didn't show I'd have to disqualify you from competing. Why didn't you tell us this before now? Sasuke asked, obviously a little irritated. I didn't want you to pressure Sakura into competing, but it doesn't matter now since you're all here, so good luck, Kakashi said before disappearing in a shunshin. Well, let's go, Naruto said, before pushing the door open and entering the room, only to freeze at the number of people in the room. There must have been over 100 genin present for the exam. Hey, Naruto. A loud voice called out and he turned around to see teammate following Kiba over to them. Your team is taking these exams too, I hope you're ready to get your ass kicked. Ha, yeah right. Shouldn't you be saying that to yourself? Naruto shot back with a grin. Boy, you don't stand a chance against me. I guess we'll have to see about that then. Naruto turned to the rest of Team 8. Hey Shino, Hinata. Good luck in the exams. Thank you, Naruto-san. Good luck to you as well. Shino answered in his usual monotone but a sincere voice. Good luck to you as well, Naruto-kun. Hinata managed to stutter out with a blush on her face. Troublesome, you guys are here too, Shikamaru said as he approached the group. I can't believe Ino managed to convince me into taking this stupid thing. He said, only to be knocked upside the head by the girl in question. You're just too damn lazy, Shika. Or would you rather your mother get on for not taking the exams because you didn't want to put out any effort? No. I heard that. Naruto laughed at their antics. Hey Shika, Choji, Ino-chan. She smiled at the other blonde. Hey, Naruto. Her face then grew serious and she put her hands on her hips. You haven't been training too hard, have you? No. I've been careful. He said nervously. The others were confused by the interaction but didn't get time to think about it due to Ino's next, much more predictable action. Good. Ino said with a nod before turning her attention elsewhere. Sasuke-kun. She said before latching onto his back, who attempted to shrug her off. Did you miss me? Head off Sasuke-kun, Ino pig. Sakura yelled. Back off, forehead. Ino yelled back. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then sayonara.